Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick.
And this is technically a more hairier than Justin than Nick now.
That's true.
That's
true.
No, you are very hairy with the hair.
Yeah. Depends what you're measuring, yes. I think overall I'm still winning, but yes, I've cleaned up all of this nonsense. We had to have a short lockdown here in Melbourne, and I had to wear a mask for 2 weeks, and frankly, the mask and the beard was a bit much. It was just a bit much during that time.
I struggled through. I needed to keep it, otherwise I look prepubescent and no one likes it.
Anyway, X-Wing, that game that we talk about. No spoilers this week, but we do have some developments on the web presence from AMG. We don't have the new X-Wing website just yet, but we do have a forum for the rules, clarification, references, erratas, etc., etc., etc. It's something that we've missed for the last few months, and it's a good platform to have it.
Well, I also like the way that they're doing it. It's very clean. It's very just schmick.
Yeah, actually, on that note, let me just show you what we mean by that. We jump over to the Marvel Crisis Protocol forum. You can see somebody asks a question. What does Fearful Symmetry and Craven's corner the beast? The person asks question, mod answers, thread locked. And for what we can tell, the same thing will be done with X-Wing. But for the time being, we don't seem to have access to user-submitted things. Oh, no, actually, you can start a new topic. But having said that, all of these ones here so far are just submitted by the mods themselves, because this is like all the official pin stuff they're going to keep at the top. So while we're here, Justin, let's have a quick look, have a look at some of the new rules references, erratas and whatnot, and sort of just go through it top to bottom.
I think we should start at the beginning.
I think we should start at the beginning. Some rules reference corrections. So basically, top of the page, a link to FFG's hosting of all those relevant documents. And if we scroll down, over the past week or so, they've added a few more entries, thankfully highlighting in blue the section that has changed. So let's start off with the planning phase. And all of this is the same, apart from if a player forgets to set a maneuver dial for a ship during the planning phase, during its activation, the ship gains a stress token, then performs a stress maneuver.
So basically what happens is it always used to be the white 2 straight, but now you're also gaining a stress.
Excellent.
Which I think is good. It then forces you to set the right maneuvers.
Indeed, and you can't nervously fiddle with your dial, most importantly. Moving on down, we have some clarification to ionization. Now, this is about what happens in the odd instance that you lose your ion token in between the part of the game where you set the dial and come to activate. Essentially, top part here says, even if you're not assigning a dial to an ionized ship, you still set it in secret anyway and put it on the ship card. And then if, for whatever reason, when the ship comes to activate, if some kind of effect in the game has made it lose its ion token, you then give that ship the dial that was set previously. Now, we were having a look at the cards before this, and we can't work out what could possibly do this right now.
Yeah, unless something comes out later this year or next.
Maybe.
They're probably just getting ahead of it, maybe.
I guess I want to say there's some kind of scum card that shares ion tokens or something like that. But I know, Justin, that our commenters are very smart and very wise and will inform us of what we've missed here. Moving on down. If 2 ships are range 0 of each other, they remain at range 0 of each other, even if until the ship moves or rotates. Great. You can't drop a device or launch a bomb and decloak at the same time. Now, what ship can do both of those, Justin? Because the Phantom doesn't have access to devices. Oh, I know. The Sith Infiltrator on the droid faction.
There's also your cloaking illicit ability.
True. Optional abilities added to the queue automatically when triggered, or does the player make their choice by adding them into the ability queue? They're added into the queue regardless. Players are not required to declare each ability. However, if a player does not resolve it, as it comes to resolve, you've missed your opportunity. And they don't talk about this, but something I really want clarified in this is, what if your opponent skips over your activation of something, sometimes accidentally. You know, we've all been there where we're playing a game of X-Wing and we go, oh, and then my attacks, and the opponent goes, no, hang on, no, this activates first because of all, you know, the weird interactions.
Yeah. I suppose you've just got to say at this while you're playing the game, look, you know, do we move to the start of this phase now?
My rule of thumb with this kind of stuff is if your opponent, either by choice or accidentally, skips over something that you were meant to activate, then you have the opportunity to roll it back. That's how it always should be. Now, if you activate something else that skips over something that you meant to activate, well, too bad. You missed the opportunity.
Yeah.
You yourself skipped it.
I'm very similar.
Yeah.
If you screw up yourself, it's on you. If
that's it.
You screw up and it's the opponent, like, nah, be nice.
Previously,
be kind to your fellow member.
Yeah, I know previously must abilities, you had to roll back no matter what. So I think this is going to slightly change the flow of some games, but at the same time, you know, I think for the sake of clean tournament gameplay, it makes sense. If you forget, you forget. That's just how it should be. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Also, there's another FAQ here. I don't know why it's in this thread, but whatever, we'll talk about it. If a ship affected by Padme Amidala's pilot ability, which, by the way, only allows an enemy ship to spend and change the result of one focus result. If a ship is affected by Padme Amidala's pilot ability and it modifies one focus result, can Palp change another result? And the answer is yes, because Palp is considered a separate entity. The ship itself is not changing two results. All right, let's go to the FAQs, because we've actually got quite a few here, so we won't spend too much time on any of these, but we'll just sort of run through them. Zari Bengal in the RZ2 A-Wing. Skip her perform action step if she partially executes a maneuver and overlaps move through a gas cloud or asteroid at the same time.
You do not skip your perform action step after you partially execute a maneuver.
I see why they need to clarify this. That's interesting. So the idea is if you're colliding with something, then you don't skip your perform action step for any reason. And no, that's not how it works. What Zari Bengal means to say is you do not skip your perform action step because you partially execute maneuver and collide with something. You still do it if you hit a cloud, either if or you hit something as well. Does Chopper Crew allow me to take a free action? No, Chopper Crew does not grant you additional actions. He simply permits you to perform your standard action step even while stressed. That's straightforward.
Next one is while performing a special attack out of the rear arc, Crassus Trerix, Fire Spray 31, pilot ability trigger outmaneuver when using a special weapon with a front arc attack restriction. Answer, no. While Crassus Trellix can perform a front arc special attack from his rear arc, these attacks are still rear arc attacks, therefore outmaneuver does not trigger on these attacks.
That's actually how I've always played it as well. I actually have played outmaneuver on Crassus Trellix myself, and it's still fine, even though that doesn't work. But outmaneuver talks about not the kind of attack, but the positioning of the attacker and defender. So, again, makes perfect sense. Can I choose to cancel either a hit result or a crit result when using General Grievous, or do I have to choose hit results before critical results? You can choose. General Grievous's ability occurs after neutralize result step, so there is no restriction as to whether his hit or crit results may be cancelled first.
Next one, how does the TIE Defender Elite configuration upgrade work with Countess Ryad in the TIE Defender? Countess Ryad ability is a replacement effect, which takes a straight maneuver, increases its difficulty, and replaces it with a Calagran turn. The replaced effect is treated as having not occurred and is no longer a straight maneuver, but a Calagran turn. If she has the TIE Defender Elite upgrade equipped, the difficulty of the maneuver is further increased to red.
Thank you, AMG. Yes.
Yeah, it's how we've been playing it, but it's good to have it just written in stone.
I know that's going to make some Empire players salty, but look, seriously, that's how it should be played. That would have been absurd if it was keeping them white and up. But let's not go into it. That's a good ruling. That's a good ruling.
Yep.
When my Fetty drone reloads his energy shell charges in the perform action step, do I have to gain one disarm token? Yes. The action granted by energy shells follows the rules of reload. Yep, and I'm not going to go into that any further. You're reloading, you still have to get a thing. If you're reloading with a card, you're still reloading. Everything still applies. Okay, here's a good one. This is one that we've been waiting for as well.
Can Darth Vader in the TIE Defender spend one force to use Foresight to attack an enemy ship in the activation phase? No. Foresight's force payment is the cost to resolve the ability, not the cost to perform the attack. After an enemy ship executes a maneuver, Vader is not yet attacking, therefore cannot pay the cost.
Yeah. And again, it's one of these things where people have sort of been harping on about technicalities and this kind of thing, and I just want to encourage people to sort of understand, the spirit in which certain mechanics are made. Vader is only designed to use his force tokens on his attacks to improve the quality of his attacks. If you start going, well, technically that means he can do foresight and other stuff like that. Well, no, it's breaking and bending his intended purpose. So again, good ruling. Let's not harp on about it.
He was just meant to hit like a rock, and that was it. And your rock hit attacks during your attack.
Hit like a very evil rock that will choke you. Anyway, when replacing a ship with Boba Fett, the crew, which, by the way, allows you to put your ship on a rock, upgrade at range 0 of an obstacle during the place forces step, does that ship suffer any of the side effects of overlapping an obstacle? No, because you haven't flown onto it. Not much to say there. Makes perfect sense.
Question, when exactly does the autopilot drone lose a charge? Answer, docking, undocking, and the autopilot's drone ability resolve along with any other during the system phase ability in sequence from the ship with the lowest initiative and continuing in ascending order. Example 1, autopilot drone begins the system phase docked at initiative 1. The autopilot drone may undock. Rigged energy cells does not enter the ability queue as the drone is in reserve and no charge is lost even if it undocks. Example 2. Autopilot drone begins in the system phase undock at range 0 of Lando's Millennium Falcon. At initiative 1, both the docking ability and rigged energy cells enter the ability queue. If the drone docks first, rigged energy cells does not resolve as it is in reserve. Alternatively, it may resolve rigged energy cells first, then dock. You can play around with it so that if you want to set it up as a bomb, you can remove all the charges, well, 2 of the charges off beforehand, and then send it out.
That's right. If you dock it no longer, the ability no longer triggers because it's in reserves, which means you can take all of them off and, I don't know. Is that something people actually do? I'm actually curious.
I have heard about people doing it before, removing the charges and then putting it back on so that then they can get it ready to explode.
Pretty cool. Wonder how much of that happens actually like in high tier tournaments. Curious to find out.
Probably very little.
Hopefully. Can Lieutenant Tabson in the Oopsie Daisy Lon trigger his pilot ability twice if he suffers 2 damage in a single attack? Yes, when the ship suffers damage, that damage is suffered 1 at a time. If Lieutenant Tabson has unspent charges and is not restricted from performing actions by other effects, you may resolve his pilot ability after each damage suffered.
How I've always played it as well. Next one, when placing ships using the hyperspace tracking data upgrade, can I only choose from initiatives 1 to 5? No. Before placing forces, you may choose one of the following numbers: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Treat your initiatives as the chosen value during setup.
Question, can a ship perform a linked action when using Pattern Analyzer? Yes, the linked action resolves in the timing window after you perform an action, which in this case proceeds before the check difficulty step.
Next one. If Arvel Crinard in the RZ-1 A-Wing is attacking range 0 while both ships are overlapping a gas cloud, is the attack obstructed? Yes. If a ship capable of attacking at range 0, such as Arvel Crinard via his pilot ability, is attacking another ship at range 0, and there is an obstacle where range 0 is measured, the attack is considered obstructed. I mean...
Weird. Okay. Sure.
I mean, you're on an asteroid, it's shooting, so... Yeah, I see where they're coming from, but I would have never have played it that way.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's just strange. Yeah. It's just really strange. Cool nonetheless. I'm okay with this interpretation. Remember, range 0 attacks are weird to begin with, so I'm not going to, complain about that kind of stuff. When defending with Zam Wessel, this is going to be complicated. Okay. Take a deep breath and let's take it all in together. In the Fire Spray Patrolcraft crew, and you should thank me condition card, can I still acquire a lock on the attacker if none of my charges are spent? Okay, I'm going to have to bring up this card. I'm sorry, I cannot memorize this card. I just...
Yeah, this one hurts.
I know I go on about this, but from a design point of view, seriously, what were they thinking? This condition is assigned face down, reveal it after you defend. After you defend, Zam Whistle recovers a charge, then you may acquire a lock on the attacker. So what this is saying, if none of my charges are spent...
because you can go up to 2 charges with Zam.
Yeah, I think what it means to say is if you don't recover a charge, does it still work?
Yeah.
Yes. It's not all part of thing. You recover 1 charge then. So the implication is, well, if you're not recovering a charge, then it shouldn't work. But of course it does. That'd be silly.
Yeah. There's the full stop there, and that starts a new sentence. So
excellent. Let's move on to some non-Zam Wessel related stuff. Can I use Rose Tico's crew ability to spend the die result given by Freelance Slicer crew upgrade? No. Freelance Slicer resolves before roll attack dice step. Rose Tico resolves during modified dice step. Rose Tico's ability never has access to spend the Freelance Slicer's die result due to their distinct timing windows.
While you defend, before attack dice are rolled, you may spend a lock you have on the attacker to roll 1 attack die. If you do, the attacker gains 1 jam. Then, on a hit or crit, gain 1 jam token.
There's nothing weird about that.
Yeah.
Rose is after, Freelance Slicers before. Pretty clear cut. Okay.
Next one. What happens to a ship using the Kira crew to ignore a locked obstacle it is overlapping if that lock is removed? The ship's suffering the effect of being at range 0 of the obstacle, but not the effects of moving through it.
Okay, so what that means is if you're on an asteroid, then you don't get to attack. But you don't roll an attack dice and take damage and all that kind of stuff. You don't lose your perform action step. Yeah, cool, that makes sense. Does damage engine, critical damage card, affect the difficulty of the sideslip maneuver? No, sideslips are turn maneuvers and do not interact with damage engine. Yes, they're not special maneuvers. That makes perfect sense.
How does weapon failure, critical damage card, interact with Sunny Boulder's M3A interceptor pilot ability? Can I add a matching result if I only rolled 1 attack die? Yes, if Sunny Boulder rolls only 1 die when attacking or defending, she may add a matching result with her ability.
Yeah, it's cool. Almost like weapons failure is a good card for Sunny Bounder. If she takes a target lock, you can roll a blank, add a blank, and then re-roll 2 dice. That seems pretty good.
Huh. Yeah, that's a bit fun.
How do you intentionally get weapons failure? These weird interactions we've never thought of.
You have Kylo on your crew.
Oh, this is bad. This is a bad idea. Plus, it's only got like 3 hulls, so don't ever do that. Let's not do this. When attacking a ship equipped with false transponder codes illicit using the XX-23 S-Thread tracer missile, which ship receives a jam token? If an XX-23 S-Thread tracer attack is successful, locks are assigned 1 at a time by the attacking player. Against a ship equipped with the false transponder codes, the attacking player effectively chooses the ship to be jammed by assigning the corresponding lock first. Okay.
It's not like, you get to choose which gets the lock first.
Okay, yeah. So you get to choose what order, so you can play around the negative effects of that. That seems... Okay, that's interesting. Hey, some more Vader questions. Here we go.
Can Darth Vader in the TIE Advance X1 use his ability to repair Wounded Pilot, the critical damage card, before it triggers? Yes, Darth Vader's pilot ability and Wounded Pilot resolve during the same timing window. A player may choose to resolve the pilot ability first and use the granted action to repair wounded pilot. If they do, the effect of wounded pilot will not resolve since the critical damage is no longer in play.
Cool. So, in other words, wounded pilot doesn't stop you from taking other actions. You can do that first and then spend your force and do other actions. My word, and Luke here has been quite busy. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah.
Can a ship equipped with Palp in the crew slot spend a force charge to use a ship or pilot ability on that target ship? No, I don't have to go through that one. Can a ship equipped with Emperor Palpatine crew spend a force to change Darth Vader's TIE results when defending? Yes, because again, it's an outside force, so Palp can do with Vader whatever he wants. Can a ship equipped with Palp spend a force to change the blank results to a hit while Darth Vader TIE Defender is performing an attack? No, because it's Palp spending the force, not Vader. Only Vader can do that with his own dice. Does the ability of Padme Amidala in the N1 Starfighter prevent a ship equipped with Palp from modifying another ship's dice? No, we just spoke about this one before. Can a ship equipped with Palp spend a force charge as part of the cost of a pilot ability from a friendly fifth brother? No. Again, remember, Palp only spends force for changing dice results. That's all he does. But of course, he's considered a separate entity, so he works with Vader. So this is just a whole block of stuff just confirming all of that.
Yeah, and then finally, we've just got some clarifications of the certain game terms. Assign, it's a broad term that applies to tokens, tiles, conditions, etc., linking them to a ship. Transfer, moving a token or lock to another ship. Move from one and assign to the other. Yep. Gain, a term specific to tokens, described any instance of getting a token. Acquire, a term specific to locks, described any instance of getting a lock. If a ship is instructed to acquire a lock, the object it locks must be at range 0 to 3 unless otherwise specified. Transferred locks are not subject to this restriction. Example 1. Hera Syndulla locks Sunta Fel. Hera acquires a lock. Sunta gains a lock token corresponding to Hera's lock. Example 2. Hera then transfers her lock to Derek Killivan. Derek acquires the lock. The lock token on Sunta is replaced with Derek's corresponding token to indicate this.
If any of you are wondering why they're being so pedantic, or, well, perceivably so pedantic about these kind of things, it's because of certain interactions. There was a TIE SF pilot. Am I thinking of Quick Draw? Something like that. That there was a clarification a while back because Quick Draw loses shield tokens and then can perform attacks. And it's like, oh, does it work if you fly over a rock? Does it count as being damaged or something like that? And that's why clarifications around these terms are important. So when reading ship cards, we can refer back to this and go, oh, hang on. Assign is the instance of any ship getting any token for any reason. So therefore, we can clarify this rule against that rule without having to ask AMG for extra stuff. It's just a future-proofing, that kind of stuff. So the last thing we're going to do is have a look at these card erratas right here. Basically, this forum has a quick link to the PDF document that you can print out that gives you a proper high-res version of all these errata cards. And AMG have just added a few erratas onto here that were not previously in the last FFG document. So let's just quickly go through those as well. Protectorate Gleb states, after you coordinate a friendly ship, you may transfer one orange or red token to the ship you coordinated. It does not work with Hondo Inaka. Yes.
Which is what we always assumed, but it's good to have it in writing.
Yeah, we said this the second we saw this card. I'm like, that's getting errated. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's not meant to be upside upon upside. These cards are not meant to combo together with, value upon value. It's just not the intended design. Again, always look at the intended design and then you can basically anticipate these kind of things happening.
Camalaris says, while a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 performs a primary attack before the modified dice step. If it has one or more blank results, that ship must gain one strain token to reroll one blank result if able. So, yeah, basically it's saying that it has to be during the before modify.
Can't reroll dice into dice. You can't have your opponent change one of your dice to a blank and then you reroll it. It's always the first thing that happens, in other words. which is good. Again, intended design. That's obviously how it was meant to work. Arliz Hadrazian, Scum BTLA for Y-Wing, should read, while you defend, if you're damaged before the modified advice step, you must change one of your focus results to a blank result. Same conversation. No need to go through it. Works exactly the same way. Last but not least.
Final one, Hero Syndulla. Should read, while another friendly ship at range 1 to 2 defends or performs an attack, during a modified dice step, you may transfer one of your focus tokens, evade tokens, or locks to that ship. So just putting it in the specific step. So
that's pretty much it. There's no way your opponent can mess with those tokens or whatever. You do it, you mess around with it. That's pretty much it. Remember, your opponent always modifies your dice before you modify your own. So they're not going to be able to delete that token for whatever reason. I can't think of an interaction that's going to do that right now. But again, it's just one of those weird interpretations where people were sort of abusing Hera in a way that just made the card a bit too powerful. And just good to get this in writing. It's good to get all of this in writing, I gotta say. I know we just waffled on for like 40 minutes about pieces of cardboard, but apparently people seem to really like this kind of stuff. Whenever we just go through the rules documents, the videos tend to do really well and they get lots of interaction. So, sure, thanks, I guess.
I mean, it's also nice to just actually have it read through. It means you can listen to it in the car as opposed to reading it yourself.
Indeed. By the way, in case any of you are interested in interacting with AMG on any of these rules interactions, you can actually join up to this forum. I'm assuming, like all the other ones, as I said at the start of the video, you can ask your own questions. They'll answer the thread and lock it, and it'll be there for other people to do. The cool thing is, like, for example, if I go at the top of the page here and I search for a rules interaction including Palpatine, you'll get all the results from Palpatine. You'll get the ones from Legion as well. But it's really handy to be able to have like this easy searchable thing. What about Deadpool? You know, that classic X-Wing character Deadpool. And wow, there are a lot of rules interactions with the character Deadpool. Hand off Chimichanga token. Justin, we got to play this game. We got to play Marvel Crisis
I want a
Protocol.
I want a chimichanga.
Well, yeah. Chimichanga token.
Both in token and in real life.
Indeed. Very cool. Thank you, AMG, for doing this. As I said, if you want to get involved, link down in the description. If you want to help us out, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. You know, YouTube interaction. I don't just say it because I like the sound of my own voice. It really does actually make YouTube go,
do something.
What are these people talking about? I don't know, but let's propagate their videos to other people. It genuinely, sharing the videos with others, interacting does help. Justin, thank you for joining me. Always lovely to see you, mate.
A pleasure as always.
Indeed. We'll catch all of you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
My camera didn't die this time.